Well, look who we have here today. You've got all three of us, all three of the mental patients. This is an honorary member.
Thank you.
The good doctor.
I've just been feeling a bit tired. I'll say,
Doctor!
Oh, am I a good Dalek or a bad Dalek? No, that makes me think about how systems have been covering at the moment. You know, good Dalek, bad Dalek. Right, Dalek machine. Dalek does this. And it's meant to have humour. I don't know if anybody likes the Doctor Who programmes, but once you switch off your humanity, then the machine works perfectly and can just trudge through. Once you open your mind,
the Daleks are actually the government.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have any compassion unless it wakes up, because it only thinks of itself.
Well, what about this? What about is that big government was like a Dalek and tells you it has control over everything, including your children, and how they will be treated. Anybody seen anything about this?
Well, there's the Asher King story, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Absolute disgrace.
Well, I like the fact that the surgeon, because I don't know if you go looking, but you'll find that there are videos out there before, during and after what's going on. But the father basically was told that unless he asked questions about which treatment, because he thought some of this might not be very good, he did his research, but unless he actually allowed them to do this, the surgeon would be able to take control, because a judge would grant him
in other words,
an order.
They'll do exactly what they've done.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is steal the kid.
You cannot decide what's happening with your health or your children's. And they have methods that apparently will solve that child's illness. It won't, will they?
Yeah.
But if you don't want them to do that, you can't stop them, because it's not your child. They will send the whole police force right across the country to hunt you down.
Hampshire police, wasn't it?
And bring you back
right
again.
Across Europe.
If it's your child, it can't be your child that you've taken, can it?
Do you know, this is unreal to most people. You'd think your children belong to you, but because of the Regis King, the register of birth, which you get conned into, they're not your children. And they actually sent Interpol out because they'd taken him, they'd taken their little 5-year-old boy, because the NHS couldn't do anything with his cancer. They wanted to shock him with radiation and chemotherapy.
But let's not forget what even the lamestream media put out. They've actually committed no crime at all.
No.
But remember, the idea is
we love you, King family.
You have a problem, we react, and they come up with a solution. So, oh my God, this child's going to die of cancer, and they've taken it away, and it can die of cancer without the doctors doing it. We must have control. And you go, yeah, you're right. To save that child, the parents shouldn't have any rights. I mean, there was rumour at one point there were Jehovah's Witnesses, and that's why they were acting this way. But for all my Jehovah's Witness friends, you don't decide what you eat, you don't decide what medicines, and you know your religion, no, their religion, stops this. You don't have these interferences from outside. They have very harsh rules, whatever they are, about blood, but in fact it's about who possesses the body.
What's this, a war on Jehovah's Witnesses as well?
Well, we've got to get people cross with stupid people, so making people who make decisions look stupid. You make a decision, look, if they did this, if the Jehovah's Witnesses took their children out, well, look, it's this religious thing, religion.
Re is shoes, you know.
But the main point for me is,
sorry, Doctor.
No, it's just
the mother of your bloody mind.
Well, the child is. They wanted to treat it with a different type of cancer treatment that they looked at, and they were going to fund it, sell their house, everything.
Yeah.
But again, it is still
proton treatment,
but it's still a different type of, should we call it, medical treatment that would be accepted. Now, I don't know if anybody's looked at the results from it. I think it was a brain injury, and they've already operated. But not just the research, but the back catalogue of what chemicals or what natural plants help that recovery system. No choice. You can't do it. The government can use a microwave, fry and frazzle your brain, but you wouldn't even be able to look at these other things because they own you.
Authority seems to have complete control of everybody's mind.
Well, if you believe it...
Right, and they want your brain and your body as well.
But you can't say no, or people don't believe they can say no. Now, what we're actually about is explaining that only if you're stupid and not awake, then you do need someone to tell you what to do. But who's telling us what to do aren't necessarily good people. So if you are awake, as they like to say, awake, then you can say no. But showing that you can say no, how are we going to deal when they want to irradiate all the children in the school because it does something good for them, and you can't say no?
You mean like they did over in America, where they took all the young kids out and irradiated them, and most of them died, but of course that was just an accident.
But that's because it's a large organisation that needs to be controlled, and you are nothing more than cogs.
Yeah.
Do you know the King family could have actually gone to see the Stanley brothers in America, because they've adapted a natural herb which the government says has its roots in hell. And they've taken all the delta-9 THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, out of it, so it's only got the cannabidiols, the cannabinoids, which actually is a cancer cure. There's no dope in it. You know, it's Indian hemp.
Well, I think you'll find you actually need the THC content when it's dealing with brain injuries.
Yes.
Very quick, very efficient.
Remember
and you
Rick
know
Simpson had a brain problem?
Oh yeah,
But
of course.
we've got videos which are out online anyway of little children who have been treated and quite happy. And even after that, the law doesn't change because the law isn't there to protect. It's to control a large machine, a Dalek.
Seems like it.
What would happen if our brains, our individual collective brains, wake up and go, this Dalek is a good or bad Dalek? What's it doing? It's got one process, one program, and that's to stay in control. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad.
I wonder if the Dalek's wearing a purple tie.
Oh, inside. Anyway, we're talking about a very good program. I can't wait for the next one to come up and see what Doctor Who can tell us about reality, because it seems to be getting very spot on. I think the last one was a robotic thing that needed flesh to live on.
Well, they've been pushing that agenda for a long time, right back to the 80s with Terminator, and they covered the skeleton in flesh, and it could time travel and all that sort of thing. But that's the idea, to have us all chipped, so we all do as we're told, and if we don't, there'll be something in the chip which will
Switch you
make
off.
you do as you're told.
Yeah, well, they can do that already, because unless you do as you're told, i.e. pay the money that they say that you owe, and they're controlling your money supply in, they can move you around anyway. And you know, if you want heat in your house, you must comply with this. If you want water in your house, you must comply with this.
So
or when turn it off.
When they crash the system and they they try to bring in a digital system where it's all digital, and you want to heat your house and they decide you've been very naughty, they just turn your chip off, you've got no money, you can't heat your house, you die.
That's it. It's like your credit card going off when you want to go shopping, but this will be your basics, is it? Your foods, your water, your lights, your heat. What do you mean when? That's already done, isn't it?
Well, are you aware that Hitachi, a while ago, a few years ago, they've made a chip that can be taken in a pill, or you can be injected, and it's that tiny. And basically, what our other negative cells have got planned for the future is that if you want your benefits or your wages, you're going to have to go past a machine and beep.
Well, we're going to get back to the Nottingham City Council later, because that's what I'm going to be playing with today, taxi drivers and a few other things.
Hi,
but
councils.
They've actually got a biometric system.
How come you've not answered any of our questions yet?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Nottingham City Council got. Don't worry about handprints and stuff like that.
Systems,
They've got it first working for the dustbin men,
Yeah.
and now they want it for all their bus drivers. But it's quite cool, because you put your hand into this machine. One of the things it mentions, you're like this, is the machine is covered in anodized silver, so there's no bacteria, no germ spread.
You mean silver kills bacteria and viruses, like colloidal silver, for instance?
What might just kill Ebola?
Ah, of course, it's a virus.
Yeah, might do. Well, don't do that, because remember, there's a lot of money invested in this new vaccine. And you know now.
Vaccine. Hi, Bill Gates.
Now, the scary bit is if you follow films, they're doing what happened in Planet of the Apes at the moment, aren't they? The monkeys are okay on it, so we inoculate the humans. Maybe that's the answer. But no, this machine is to cut out. This is the biometrics for the council. You go in, you put your hand in, and it says you've got a little PIN number. Don't worry about the PIN number. It doesn't have to be secret, because unless someone's borrowed your hand for the day.
So if I want your wages, I've got to cut your hand or your finger off.
Yeah, but don't worry about the wages, because remember the old time clock systems used to come in, punch in, punch out, then it went to the accounts. This is done automatically, so there's less people needed. So I was here, I've gone home. Ding.
Really?
It's all
Nottingham City Council are introducing a biometric system for their staff.
They have already.
The rest of the staff don't know about it
In
yet.
fact, guys, are there any members of the council, Nottingham City Council, or any
Or
of the
anywhere
councils
else?
in the UK or worldwide that want to tell us some intel about what's really going on in the councils and what they're up to? You know how to contact us. It's not that hard.
We'll keep all details hush hush.
Yeah.
So keep dropping them in.
We won't be using your names.
Keep dropping them into 17 Station Street. That's where we seem to be getting a lot of information.
Ground
collated.
zero, we call it.
Yeah, so if you want to have a gripe, pop down, we'll do a gripe for you. But main thing is when you
Contact us
are controlled,
first.
it's a bit worrying, isn't it? And you can't do anything from the inside. So
By the way,
outside.
I've just thought of something. John Collins, seems you're trying to push in this Roman law. We'll apply it from this moment on, just for a few seconds.
Roman law, what's that? What's that?
That
mean?
is, you're guilty
Be careful.
you're guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah.
So John Collins
Are
are
you
guilty.
committing the crimes?
We weren't going to talk about it because it's not very nice, is it? But you've got a position here where you can help uncover this stuff, because the rest of your team, Ian Courier isn't doing it. Candida Brundelli, I can't remember her name, sounds like a nice bread. It's come to light that things aren't quite right, and you're not getting the respect you need, not from us.
Questions, can
and
you?
the nicest thing is, I'm finding as well, is we're getting a few smiles from the police, as in they don't like the idea of some things the council's been up to, but this stuff coming to light, they're loving
Even the
all
traffic
of it.
wardens were saying the other day, we were speaking to one, and we're not going to reveal who it was, that there was a meeting. There was a meeting where they were saying that they've issued far too many taxi licences because of greed.
Yep.
That's what the traffic wardens were saying.
Well,
So what's going on, Nottingham City Council, huh?
Well, Station Street, where the taxis used to pull up to pick people up from the top of the station where people come out. Well, they've been doing it anyway, and then traffic wardens have been come chasing them off. It's been a game, and we could put Benny Hill music to it. But they all queue up there, and then the traffic warden comes, they all leave. Traffic wardens go, they all come back. Have you thought why they want to pull up at the front of the station?
Probably to collect passengers.
Yeah, but the council, it's
So they
infinite
can feed
wisdom,
their wife and kids.
has better ideas, and they even had a guy showing where they
Well,
can
that will be so that they can charge them for parking somewhere else. That's what that will be. It'll be another way to scam them out of money.
They actually got upset with the taxi drivers because they stood up to them, and since then they've had 18 months of hell just on my street alone. And do you know what? It still isn't open, and they've got some surprises for you taxi drivers. So I'm going to have a little chat with you and just see what you think about their new proposals. Remember, I was speaking to one earlier, and most of their information is coming from a private taxi firm, because they're in with the council and they seem to know what's happening before anybody else. Won't mention your names, but by gum, DG.
Does that mean don't go?
I don't know what it means.
That's what it stands for.
Don't know what it
Don't
means.
go.
But yeah, everything has to be monitorised, has to be controlled, and all the little bits that they've been suffering from, by standing up and saying no to the council, we'll show you little bits where they actually blatantly lie, but they bullied the taxi drivers. You know, if you don't behave yourself, you will not step out your cabs. If you do, we will fine you. So we asked a few questions, asked what that law was, and it was Angela Rawson who replied and said, there's a law there that says we're allowed to do this.
Did she quantify exactly what law it was?
Well, she was actually asked to say where the law was, then it went quiet. It's a bit like when I ask who's coming against me. Because I wanted to do a show today, what was it, lesson 8 it was, of Who Was the Masters. And hoping,
Part 7.
I was hoping that someone would write the script for me. But they're back off holiday, all these...
Criminals.
I hope you had a nice time.
but I
Remember
haven't-
that we're
no script.
under the Roman law, so they're all guilty until proven innocent. So they are
not
all
under-
criminals.
We're not under Roman law.
Who are they going to
Yes.
arrest?
No, we
Who's
are
gonna
for
arrest
this
them
particular
themselves?
few seconds.
Okay then. Yeah, but don't forget, November the 1st, it doesn't really matter what goes on, you have given up all your rights, even to protest or have a, what do you call it, a referendum. Yeah, because November the 1st, the law has changed in this country.
So then there's no point in UKIP then?
Not really, it's a bit of a farce.
So
but they
it is
will have,
controlled opposition, just like we've been saying all along.
they can go into the big people building that's full of decision makers and suggest things. Yeah, but the suggestion for me right now is, I've shown so far that if big boys want to come across you and they're quoting law, then understand the law, but you can say no, then they run and hide. But if you don't say no, don't know how to say no on the very basic bits, the bits you're concerning you, the heavy stuff going around the globe, what can we do? Well, if you can't say no when someone comes up and tells they're going to tax you for something they've just made up, then when it comes to something important like health, and you want to survive, and they say, no, you're not allowed to do that because this is what we do to kill off the bacteria. We don't use colloidal silver. This is what we do to cure, treat cancers. We don't use cannabis or cumin or any of the other things.
Device.
None of them. You
Gianna
must do
Woodwig.
it this way. And you go like,
Mistletoe.
oh, is that true? So when they say, who are you
SEO.
voting for? It means who are you giving permission to kill? You are giving a license to kill, not James Bond. Oh,
I thought we were the bosses. Somebody was asking on our channels that put out our videos. So you talk about the masters. Who are the masters?
well, the masters are the
Aren't
ones
you
that...
aware that we are all the masters, and they are supposed to be our servants?
not
But they're
anymore.
not acting like servants. They're serving themselves.
Well,
they're
as I
proud
say,
and ambitious to serve themselves,
they can
and the
do
supporters of themselves.
whatever they want as long as you don't do anything about it.
Are you aware that we're the boss? We're the masters.
In that case, then, you're all sacked.
All of you.
Oh no, there's a bit of protection on there as
Ah,
well. Even
thought
when
there
they're doing
might be.
bad things, in theory, elected. They call it elected. They've got to run their terms. But
Elected? That's something.
Selected.
Have you
But
noticed
it's-
how it's all about electricity?
No, it's
Are you aware that this virtual reality, which we're all co-creating in the past, present, and future, is actually electronic, electric, electromagnetic, biochemical system?
but you've got to trust the system.
It's the mind. It's the mind
If you didn't trust the system,
that is being controlled,
If
and it's
you-
the mind that's creating all this.
yeah, but if you didn't trust that system, then with your own mind, you should realise you should be able to stop it. But you, me, him, are beginning to realise that we can say no, but other people believe that you can't say no.
Because nothing is known in the known universe.
No, I meant just because they say you can't say no.
I know. You know.
Yeah.
In fact, you all know about this, but because of the veil of forgetting, you can't recall it.
I've forgotten.
If you try and remember, you'll also forget.
Remember.
Remember, that comes back to ISIS, doesn't it?
Yeah? What about total recall? When you lift the veil of forgetting, you start to understand what's going on because you get total recall. But you don't want to have all of it in one go, otherwise it'll blow you apart.
Oh, yeah, recalling everything. There are people actually now bringing evidence of what's happened to them as children in an abusive system. They're recalling it, and they're recalling it for other people.
Yeah, anybody that's got any child sex scandals about anybody that's done anything nasty to them,
Because if you tell certain people, then they don't want to deal
we'll
with it.
expose it for you
Oh,
if you want.
mean like a certain CEO of the council who'll just brush it under the carpet?
They're having a hard time dealing with this because what it brings the council in disrepute, and also the amount of money people are owed in compensation. Can you imagine if horrible things happen to you and you're brave enough to bring this forward,
Yes,
and
but
they don't want to investigate
What are the council doing for those people they've abused?
Oh, they're offering
Cover it
them.
up, don't they?
No, it's a confidentiality clause. There's also difficulty in people who've been abused to try and change the law for
Oh,
them
hold
to come
on.
forward.
Jack Straw says that it's against the law for any children or anybody to
Yeah.
report sex crimes or child sex
So
exploitation.
if you're
or
not sure,
abuse.
Jack Straw is a pedo.
Right. There's something I'm going to say in defence now, which you're not going to like, any of you. There's a difference between child rape and ritualistic child abuse, but they combine the two.
A la Dominic Strauss-Kahn style.
It is getting
Satanic
dark.
orgies.
Now, when further you go down the rabbit hole, pedo hole,
Snake hole.
there are defined reasons, apparently, why they have to act this way. We don't understand. The veil for them, apparently, is open and...
Selfish veil.
Yeah. So having control over people in the darkest fears, well, one thing, if they can't get to you, they attack your family.
Well, first of all, Doctor, let me just stop you there. Where does this idea of all darkness come from?
Private courts,
It comes
family
from religion
courts,
and the Bible in Genesis.
Right, but giving control over
Right,
to
it's all
others.
about divide and conquer. And all the religions, especially the Christian one in the Bible, is not diluted. It's...
Well, the Christian one I like a lot because it says your master, but it refers to somebody who was known as the Christ. So you need that master if you're not your own master. So, quite frankly, the idea of Christian values, so many have I come
Distorted.
across. Well, it's okay, but
Just thought the word.
to behave yourself and work in system and society, all that man said for that religion was say no. It's just about love.
You can say no.
So you can have that one for any religion's going to agree, but who do you want to be in charge? But if it was, it's got to be that man. You are that man, you are that man, and every single woman is that man if we choose.
The answer is in
Yeah.
these so-called books, but it's been distorted so much that you actually brainwash. Your mind is so controlled that you actually think there's an omnipresent big being living in the sky that's watching over you.
No, you don't have to worry about that omnipresent one,
Right.
but I've got something
My
for
friend's
you.
daughter the other day, she says, there's two places you could go when you die, heaven and hell.
Queen's
So
or
my
City Hospital.
girlfriend says to her, and she says, well, what happens in heaven? She says, oh, it's really nice, and you get to adorn Jesus and God and like this in a white gown.
you're still a
and
servant
white
then?
hair. You're still a servant.
Yeah, but it's who you're
And
serving.
And I said, well, hell sounds more interesting. She says, oh, no, hell's terrible. All your flesh burns off. So my girlfriend says, when you're dead, you ain't got any flesh. And she went, oh yeah.
There is something that covers quite a few religions. Remember, you can look at them as education, take what you need, and they're meant to be about morals, but you got any idea what the difference, I'm going to say physically, between an angel and a demon is?
Same thing, aren't they?
Exactly. The only thing...
A bit like a good Dalek and a bad Dalek.
Yeah, it's a
Whoever you
different
vote for,
species.
government wins.
It's a more powerful version than a human in theory, while it's looking after us. And then we develop there where we can do everything, and an angel and a demon. Right, picture your demon, you see lizard or something like that, dragon, something horrible.
It's like a love heart like this, shaped like that. You imagine drawing the two horns on it and a couple of devilish eyes.
Well, if
It's
you're...
getting steamy in here, people will start talking.
I was going to say, yeah, what's going on in that car? But
A discussion.
picture yourself an angel. You've got completely different views when they are exactly the same species. The idea is, if you have that much energy and power, what you do with it. So it's intent.
You see, angels and demons, or devils and shaitans and satans and all, and Beelzebub and all that, are just fictitious characters in a book. I
Very
know
nice.
you're going to put it in the comments. No disrespect. Believe in whatever you want to believe in, right? It's up to you. It's your choice. But do you realise? Should you question it? Your religion or what your belief system? Because you do. Are you aware that you may be lying to yourself?
You may be, but I've got a little point on there as well. This is something that the religions love.
Yes, please, Doctor.
Yeah, is the biggest trick is the devil to make you think he doesn't exist. And you go, this gets a bit confusing, doesn't it?
If they're not fictitious characters in a book, show me one. Show me an angel.
Ah.
Show me a devil.
We're going back to Roman
And somebody will
law
say,
now, aren't
yeah,
we?
there's one sat in Cardiff at the moment, having his lunch at the castle, with a £50 million steel thing round him.
Think about it like that.
fact,
But
there's quite a
it's
few.
all about intent, and we're just going to wake up to some stories where it's got to be explained why it was assumed
I can
we
explain
have to be
something if you're
controlled.
interested.
Here we go.
Right? The
my
reason
breath.
why there's control in this virtual reality game that you're co-creating in the past, present and future en masse, right? It is an electronic game. It feels completely real, look. Look, these people. These humans or whatever they want to call themselves this week.
holding my breath.
They seem completely real, but if they didn't seem real, or this didn't seem real, or that this didn't seem real, then it'd be rubbish, wouldn't it? But so if you're in an electronic game, an electromagnetic game, that you have to have polarity. So you've got negative and positive. If we were to say, play a game, you know, the games console or whatever, if you took one of the pins out, say the minus, the negative one, you'll find that the blue light doesn't even come on.
Or blue light.
So you can't even play.
Am I meant to have a blue light? That explains a lot. On top of the box.
It's your choice whether you want to choose a negative path
That was coincidence.
or a positive path. And now
Little blue
negative,
light
this is what I
just
call the so-called illusion of authority. Because between you and whatever you think God is, or the Creator is,
Come on,
which is you,
Come on, let's go.
we're all creators.
let's
I'm
go
going to do a special about this next week with
Let's
this
go and
one.
tickle some
this
authority.
one, maybe.
Come on, I want to go and tickle some authority.
Shall we go and find
Yeah.
the so-called authority
Yeah, I think
that are
it's,
on our side? They always say they're on your. Oh, we're on your side. That implies that there's another side.
Well, let's go to.
So whose side
Let's
are they
go
on?
and see whose street they're on.
And who
See
are
if they're
you?
on our street, and we can have a chat there. But I'll explain
Back
what
to
happens
station?
when they want to speak to me. Normally, they run away. So let's see who's there who wants to talk.
Hold on, I don't think we should be parked here. What does it say behind you?
Private parking only, Nottingham City Council.
Ah.
Oh, it also says, like this one, restriction zone ends and And restriction zone continues.
Got to go, we'll get a ticket. That's it for now, everyone. We really, really do love you.
I think.
We love you so much.
I think I understand
So
what's
have
going on
fun,
now.
be happy, and if you want to be able to treat your kids for cancer. Oh, somebody said on the news this morning, oh, that was it, the Hampshire police said, oh, the internet lies. It's all lies on the internet.
Yes, of course it is.
So the Hampshire police website is a lie then?
No.
And the UK government legislation and laws is a lie?
No, the BBC propaganda machine is doing very well. We're even being contacted, you are being contacted by people from the BBC. The next trick will be actually seeing what they report.
The good Dr. Laura at the BBC has been following your Twitter feed. And what did she put up this morning? Something about hate crimes?
There's something going on about hate crimes in Nottingham, and they're wanting more people to interview. So, some hate crimes. But
We're not haters, we're lovers.
So we can't do the interview because we don't actually hate
No,
anybody.
not mutually, not with each other.
But I'm sure we can find you some people to hate. We'll put them up there and you can make your decisions. Good old days.
Love you.
All of you. By remote control.